There's this very specific burnout that I feel like only Black women go through, and like you're in danger of getting to this point no matter what you're working in, like what field you're working in. Because I'm in entertainment and social media right now. I've done the military, I've done corporate world, but this shit always happens like clockwork at a certain point, because you work hard, right? And you try and you try and you advocate for yourself, and you're just like, hey, I'm here. Please treat me the same way that you treat everybody else. You're expected to accomplish more, right? Like perfection is absolutely needed. Other people are allowed to be mediocre and to, even make mistakes and stuff, and you're not. And whoever does not agree with this, I literally don't give a fuck, because Black women, almost every Black woman has experienced this in whatever field they're working in. We know that this is a fact. It's a proven fucking fact. There have been studies done on it. You go through this shit, you go through this bullshit of like having to work, 3 times harder for like a fifth of the reward that other people get, and all that shit. And it's like, you don't think that fucking weighs on a person? Like, having that happen over and over and over again, we just burn the fuck out. You get to a point where you're just like, you know what, this is not a meritocracy, least of all for me. And it's just like, what's the point? What's the point in trying? What's the point in overachieving? What's the point in like advocating if it's just gonna result in more pain, in like this cycle of grief, this cycle of, like raising a ruckus, being like, hey, treat me fucking better. Maybe things are getting better, but then it really doesn't. And you still see other people, being given, so much for a fraction of your effort, or just people in your same echelon or whatever, just being treated so much better. And you see that, and you go through this cycle over and over again, and you hit this absolute fucking low, this depression, and then you have to pull yourself back up and be like, but we're so fucking resilient, we're so strong or whatever, and that's okay because I'm good at what I do, and that's gonna shine through eventually. Eventually. And it just keeps on going around and around. And the eventually, like, is it coming? Is the eventually coming? And like that up and down, it's funny because I'm taking a course on recovering from narcissistic abuse, and the psychologist in it is talking about, like, in those kinds of relationships, like, it's not just the bad times and the good times, independently. It's the roller coaster, right? Like, it's the gaslighting and the love bombing and the this and that, up and down, up and down. Like, they throw you a crumb every once in a while to be like, no, I do value you. And then they treat you like shit. And it's the up and down that has you like disoriented. And that's what makes the cycle abusive. And Black women, we fucking go through that in no matter what line of work. And so you get to this point where you are just so tired, and you just hit a wall, and you're burnt out, and you just kind of shut down some parts of your brain or your heart and just operate on autopilot. You just go through the motions of whatever you were doing before, even if it's something that you love, even if it's something that you are like really passionate about, and that's always been really fun for you. And then you will get the people that are like, well, you should just want to do it because you love it. It's like, which is again just so dismissive, because it's like, yeah, I love it. And I would like for my talent and my effort to be valued and rewarded the same way it is for other people who honestly do less, the same or less. Because I would also like to be able to provide for my family. I also would like to, be able to do it for more people on a grander scale because I love it. Like, it's so gaslighty. Like, you should be able to do it because you love it. That's something that has been used to gaslight artists and actors and stuff into accepting, and black women just in general, into accepting the absolute fucking bare minimum, if not so much worse than bare minimum. Like, just gaslighting them into accepting such terrible treatment because of the guilt of, like, you should be doing it because you love it. Like, going through that shit, that up and down, like, all that effort for no payoff, like, basically no payoff, like, that will make doing even something that you love joyless. It doesn't matter if you love it or not. It doesn't matter if you love it or not. It doesn't matter if you're passionate about it or not. Going through that will make you tired of it. It can make you just so indifferent. And so we just enter this, I feel like we enter this this state of dissociation. You shut off a part of your head, of your heart, and you just go through the motions because there's nothing else that you maybe know how to do or want to do. You have to keep on working, right? You have to, like, feed yourself. You got to pay rent. You got to live in this world, like, very few people have the privilege to just drop, just drop something because, like, I don't like how I'm being treated. Like, very few people, let alone black women, have the opportunity or the privilege to be able to do that. And so you just turn certain parts of your brain and your heart off, and you just go through the motions, and you just kind of act like, I don't know, there's just, like, no joy in it. There's just no joy. Because what other choice do you have? And you got to turn your brain off. You got to dissociate, because the pain of seeing how little your efforts get you is just too much to keep on witnessing and then hoping that it'll get better, like hoping that this is the last time, hoping that it won't happen again. It's too much. So yeah, you got to turn that fucking part of your brain off and just be fucking numb. Like, no wonder black women are most in danger of developing, like, clinical depression, and then for other obvious reasons, one of the least likely groups to seek help for clinical depression. Like, no fucking wonder. And then every time I talk about, like, the way I'm treated in my field or whatever, there'll always be someone that's like, well, maybe you should find a different career field. Maybe this is not for you. Maybe, seems like it's really stressing you out too much. You should find something else to do. I'm a black woman no matter where the fuck I go. No matter where I go, that's the grim reality. That was the grim realization. Like, no matter where there's no place that I'm going to be safe from being treated like a black woman. No matter where I go, I'm still going to be a black woman, and I'm going to go through the same shit. Just in a different way, a different flavor of ice cream. It's still ice cream. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's like, so you just got to pick. You just got to pick what field, what environment are you going to operate in that you're that you're most okay tolerating this treatment. For some people, it may be a creative field. For some, it might be corporate America. I have been in the military. I have worked for the state. I have worked in corporate, dealing with multi-million-dollar companies and stuff. I've done several different kinds of jobs, And I face the same thing in every field. You know, that's not gonna help. So no, it's not just pick a different job. Like, there's nowhere I can go to escape that treatment and this feeling. There's nowhere we can go. Nowhere. Yeah, and it's corny because it's like we're the only ones that have to like do this. Maybe not the only ones, but like at the biggest, like at the we're the group that I feel has to do this the most. And it gets really hopeless because even like having a support system, it's like it's nice to have a support system and know that you're not alone going through the shit, right? Because it's validating. But after a certain amount of time, it's like, you know, having a support system and knowing that this happens to all of us doesn't make us feel any better, like doesn't improve the situation significantly. It doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't pay bills. It doesn't pay rent. It doesn't fix how people are treating you. So like after a while, that like the benefit of even having that just kind of diminishes, because it's like so yeah, like that fucking burnout. That fucking burnout. Especially, you know, because we've been raised, all of us, right, in a society that's like, if, you know, your reward will be equal to your effort. And then the older we get, the more we realize that that's a fucking lie, right? A lot of other things factor in. Your race, your hue, your gender expression. And for those at the very, very bottom of the social ladder, it's very possible, extremely possible, that your efforts will not even yield a fraction of the rewards of others that others get. That's fucking depressing. Anyone in that fucking position would be depressed and hopeless and dejected and dehumanized, like anybody would be. But we're always there. We're always there. So, I don't know about some of you Goyles. That's where I'm at. I'm at that burnout. And it's so terrible. It's rough. And if you're going through the same thing, just know that you're not alone. And if the knowledge that you're not alone doesn't fucking help you, I understand that too. Because we just want things to get better. Right? We just want things to get better, and we don't. And for the onus of that responsibility to not be on us, to like figure it out or tough it out or be strong or suck it up or stop complaining or move somewhere else. Right? It's like, or I could get treated like a human being and not a dog. How about that? Novel idea.